Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Ripplemeyer, and I am the spiritual director of this amazing community. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. We believe that there is one power and presence, one God, one divinity, whatever you choose to call it. It is benevolent and loving and everywhere at all times. And it is that creative force that has created everything that we can see and everything that we cannot see. And since we were created in its image and likeness, we too have that ability to create. And we believe that we create the experiences of our lives. So if we're not liking them so much right now, then we are the ones who have the power to shift that and to change it and to transform our lives into something that we would really love to be living. And so we gather together. Well, actually, we're not gathering together right now, but we are here as a community to support each other on our spiritual paths, and we're very grateful that you have joined us today. Speaking of joining us, we have the awesome Reverend Andy Ross in the house today. Blessing us with his presence for the first time in quite a long time, I think maybe even close to a year. So we're very, very grateful that he is with us today. And it is now my pleasure to welcome up one of our licensed spiritual practitioners, Carol Cross.
Hello, all you beautiful people out there. So glad that you are with us today. Our theme for 2021 is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. Our January theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And Reverend Andy's talk title is Looking Above. So I know we can't wait to hear about that. All right, I am now going to read our community purpose statement. This is our reason for being together, however it is that we are together. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. All right, and we're going to start by turning within, which is the best place to look for God, to unite with God. So close your eyes and allow these beautiful celestial tones to just wash over you and get you into the vibration of the universe.
I invite you to begin to bring your attention back into your bodies and into your rooms, and remain turned within as I speak a word of prayer over our service today. In this space so beautifully created by the sounds of the crystal bowl, I am acutely aware of the peace that floods my body, of the joy that fills my soul, of the unconditional love that is at the heart of my very being. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the presence of God, the presence of good. I know that it is who and what I am, that I was created by this presence out of itself in a moment of unconditional love, that right where I am, that presence is in its fullness and in its wholeness. I am a hologram of its presence and ambassador on the planet. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely the truth of each and every sentient being. All of us are divine emanations of the divine. And it is from that place of unity that I bless our service today, knowing that it is a divine appointment that God is having through and as each of us individually and collectively, and that it flows with grace and ease from beginning to end. I bless all of the sacred service volunteers that are here to facilitate this service, beginning with Carol and her beautiful meditation, and Babs as she comes forward as the practitioner, Reverend Andy as he comes forward to share his wisdom, allowing the words and the energy of God to flow through and as him, Mark and Heather in the AV booth, working tirelessly to make sure everything is done in the right timing, and the beautiful Karen Daly as she sings from her heart today. I truly know that this is a divine day, a divine moment, and that each of us is somehow touched in some way that forever changes us by being together today. And so for all of the blessings, those that I'm aware of and those I can't even begin to imagine, I am grateful. We anchor this together simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Please welcome a licensed spiritual practitioner, the awesome Barbara Kane.
Thank you, and good morning. Okay, and I invite Carol Cross to join me this morning for the blessings of all faiths. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. And now I invite you to, Now I'm going to read the reading today. It is from Howard Thurman. He says, "How good it is to center down, to sit quietly and see one's self pass by. The streets of our minds seethe with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashing, with noisy silences, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the resting lull. With full intensity, we seek, ere thicket passes, a sense of order in our living, a direction, a strong, sure purpose that will structure our confusion and bring meaning in our chaos. We look at ourselves in this waiting moment, the kinds of people we are. The question persists: what are we doing with our lives? What are the motives that order our days? What is the end of our doings? Where are we trying to go? Where do we put the emphasis? And where are our values focused? For what end do we make sacrifices? Where is my treasure? And what do I love most in life? What do I hate most in life? And to what am I true? Over and over the questions beat upon the waiting moment. As we listen, floating up through all of the jangling echoes of our turbulence, there is a sound of another kind, a deeper note, which only the stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered, our spirits refreshed, and we move back into the traffic of our daily round. Within the peace of the eternal, that peace is in our step. How good it is to center down. And so it is. And so now I'm going to speak an invocation. If I can ask everyone to close their eyes one more time. This is a good God day. I recognize that infinite love that is absolutely infectious, but the good kind, in each of our lives. I recognize that divine love is what beats our heart. Divine love is what sparks our imagination and our creativity. And in this moment, I know that that divine love speaks to us through Reverend Andy Ross, and I speak a blessing on him as he brings his message of brilliance, of change, of hope, and of light. And I know that we are all lifted and enriched by his words. And I also speak a blessing on Karen Daly as she brings her wonderful gift of song and music, which never fails to inspire me. And I'm so grateful for the gifts of this day, and so it is. And now I'd like to introduce the wonderful, amazing Karen Daly.
Thank you, Babs. Good morning, everybody. I so miss your faces. It's good to be here today. This is a new song for me by a group called Mercy Me, called I Can Only Imagine. it will be like when I walk together by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your presence I feel deep inside of me. I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for your spirit, or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence to my knees? Will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine all that I would do is forever live in you. I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for your spirit, or in all of you be still? And will I stand in your presence to my knees? Will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all when I'm surrounded by your glory? Well, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for your spirit, or in all of you stay still? Will I stand in your presence to my knees? Will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Thank you.
So you're a microphone, and you're a podium. Beautiful. I think I was there. It could just be in my imagination that I was there. Like when you see a video of Dr. King speaking, or when you see Gandhi sitting, or when you read a story about Gethsemane and you say, I was there. So I could just be imagining I was there, but I think I was there the very first time, Karen, that you sang in front of people. Or you could have just been saying that as a ruse, like, yeah, this is the first time, I'm so nervous. But since then, I have been, sorry, Mark, deeply in love with you. Like, your voice is haunting like life is haunting. haunting in a way that brings you the balance of pleasure and pain and joy and death and life and rebirth, just this thing you can't touch, but it's there and it just washes over you. So thank you very much for continuing to bless the world with your voice and your guitar. Man. So the other day, I got in the car and I rode to work. I work a lot of my life has been at a hospital as a chaplain. So I pulled into the parking deck and I got my mask out, and it was a fresh mask, it was a fresh mask, and I put it on, and I couldn't help but think, wow, it feels good to put a fresh mask on. There is nothing quite like a fresh mask. And then I caught myself and I was like, did you just say that there's nothing quite like a fresh mask? And I was like, yeah, I said that. It's weird. It's very odd how circumstances change. And one of the amazing things about being a human, about humanity, about our species is our willingness and our ability to adapt and find new normals. And sometimes you put a mask on and you're like, okay, well, nothing feels better than a fresh mask. So I've been thinking about how to begin this, how to start this talk, this relationship with you through this camera, at a podium and a microphone. I don't know if you know me. A lot of you probably do know me. Maybe some of you don't. But if you do know me, if you've had the experience, I guess that's what we'll call it. We're not going to label it as good or bad. If you've had the experience of listening to me, of witnessing this thing I love so much to do, you may find it very odd that I'm standing at a podium in front of a microphone, because the first thing I do when I get up in front of a group and there's a podium is I move it. And if there's a microphone, I grab it or I take it away so that I can move, so that I can move around and I can touch you and I can hug you and I can get in your face a little bit and I can, be in the room. But today I'm here and I'm talking to you and I'm trusting that you're there in that camera. I'm trusting and having faith that on the other side is not just Mark at the AV booth, but it's you with your coffee, with your tea, in your living room, in your bed, doing dishes, walking in the garden, half asleep. Wake up! I'm imagining and I have faith that you are there. Because I've been here so many times before, but this is all very new to me. So I thought we would begin our time together today with an exploration of what is. If you want to do something important, and if you want to do anything at all, because let's face it, everything we do is important. If you want to do something, the best place to begin is with what is. Looking around you and saying, this is where I am and this is what I have to work with. Our circumstances in general, are the currency of life. It's what we have to use. It's what we have to work with. These are our tools. And I'm not just talking about what's in the room, a podium and a microphone. I'm talking about what's internal. I always feel a bit of excited anxiety when I speak. So that's part of my circumstances right now, is this excited anxiety. I have these ideas I want to share with you. I have these yearnings, these desires for this to go well, and that's part of my internal circumstances, this body, these hands, this room, this microphone, this podium, this camera. This is what is. So I'm going to begin by acknowledging these circumstances. And of course, we cannot begin anything in 2020 going into 2021. We can't begin anything without acknowledging this overarching circumstance of a pandemic. Because now every time we do something, every time we play a song, every time we get ready to run a church service, every time we drive to work, every time we walk to the mailbox, we're existing in these overarching circumstances, or this overarching circumstance of a pandemic that adds an extra degree. It adds a weight. So now if we want to do anything, even if we want to go to the grocery store, I'm in the car, I got my bags, my reusable bags, thank you, Earth. I have all my stuff, and I'm pulling out, and I'm like, oh, I forgot my mask. Because you can't go to the grocery store without a mask. So acknowledging circumstances, we have to accept that this is where we are. This is what we are doing. I am here at a podium with a mic, talking to you through a camera, with all of you. I've taken off my mask so no one's going to come near me. Maybe I've taken off my mask so that no one comes near me. This is what is. So I want to share some truth with you about circumstances. So we've acknowledged where we are. This is where we are. There's two truths, two bits of wisdom I believe we can pull out of what circumstances are, these things that are our life. The first truth, the first bit of wisdom I would like to share with you at home and with you here is that circumstances, me, my mind, my thoughts, this room, a pandemic, circumstances are constantly changing. They're always in flux. Circumstance is life. Life is circumstance. Life is particularities. Life is the currency, the way things move. And life is always moving, so circumstance is always changing. This podium, can you see it? Zoom in. This podium appears to me like a solid object because my mind is doing this dance with this podium saying, yes, this podium is solid. But in actuality, this podium is changing. It's moving. The molecules are shifting. So circumstances, the first truism, the first amount of wisdom I want to share with you is that our circumstances are always shifting, are always changing. This pandemic will not last. Nothing lasts. Everything changes. But, and this might be hard for you to hear, so if you're at home, perhaps you want to hold your dog. I know you're with your dog. You want to hold your dog tight. This is a bit of truth that's hard to hear. When this pandemic shifts, when this pandemic changes, another one will come. There's always a pandemic. There's always some bit of circumstance overall that pushes on us, that changes the way we do things. When we ride out to the grocery store, when we go to our job, when we sing the song, when we run our church, there's always going to be something that's pushing on us, something that's weighing on us. So that's the first thing I want you to hold with you as we talk through these things today, is that circumstances, what is, always changes, always shifts. And this brings us into our second truism, our second tidbit of wisdom, is that circumstances, this might also be difficult to digest. It's one of those truths that sits there and we have trouble with it. The second truth of circumstance is that circumstances are always balanced. Circumstances are always balanced. Now, when I mention balance, I'm not talking about good and bad. Good and bad are judgments. Good is what I would like to be. Good is what I think should be. And bad is what I think should not be. When I speak of balance, I'm talking about push and pull, positive and negative, high and low. So not only are circumstances always changing, always shifting, always moving like waves in the ocean, but circumstances are always balanced. Now, we don't always feel balanced because we typically only see a part of our circumstances. We only see a little bit. And when we lean and push to one side, we feel off of balance. But the truth is, circumstances are always balanced. Check this out. 1 year ago, or a year and a month, it was December. And I said, 2020, the year, you guys are going to love this, the year of clarity. I had no idea. I hadn't even heard of the coronavirus. It was this thing that that sounds terrible to say, that the Chinese were doing. Oh, they're doing the coronavirus. That's not going to get here. We're isolated from them. But so a year ago, I said, okay, 2020 is going to be the year of clarity. Now I look back on 2020 and I'm like, yes. It was the year of clarity. I was able to see things. We, as a community, as a species, as a people, as a global community, were able to see things that we've never seen before. And when I speak about balance, I'm not trying to undermine what we've been through as a community, because we've seen death, we've seen suffering, we've seen families separated by distance. So when something sinks, when something pulls us in the negative, something pulls in the positive. This past year, we've seen innovation. I've seen nurses and doctors working tirelessly, loving, giving themselves in compassion. We've seen new online communities, new ways of connecting that we have never seen before, ways to reach out and touch someone from the comfort of our own home. Yes, we've seen the low. We've experienced the depths of despair and grief, but in that, we've also experienced these amazing new things. There is always balance. And I began this talk by saying, what is? What's our circumstances? That's what we have to do. We have to expand our perspective to see and accept what is. And then we start to notice the balance. There's always balance. So those are the true truths of this currency we're going to be working with for the next 45, 50 minutes tops. So one, circumstances are always changing, always moving. I've been speaking for some odd minutes, and things are completely different now. Circumstances are always changing. Two, always balance. I almost wanted to say always balanced there is. I watch a lot of Star Wars. Always balanced. Always balanced. So the question is, whenever we want to do anything, and I know you like to do things, I'm always doing things and always doing something. The question is, and what I want to work with today, the gift I'd like to give and also experience, because as I give, I receive, is what do we do with this? If my life is always circumstantial, if it's always a balance of positive and negative, if things are always changing, what do I do? What am I going to do with this? What steps do I take? How do I proceed? Because life can be overwhelming. The beautiful thing about perspective, and this is one of those cool little spiritual nuances or spiritual sayings that sound so trite and simple, because it is, but it's also wise. The more you see, the more you see. I know, right? Perspective. As my perspective widens, the more I see, the more I see. And that can be overwhelming. The more of life you're able to take in, the more overwhelming it can be. So what do we do with all this? What steps do we take, knowing that our circumstances are always changing, knowing that there's always a balance of positive and negative? What do I do? What's my next step? Well, I'm going to argue. Hey, podium comes in handy. I am going to argue. Been watching too much politics. I'm going to argue. Now I forgot what I was saying. I'm going to argue that we all want two things. All of us want two things. And want sounds like not a good enough word. Desire is not a good enough word. From the depths of our being, we seek two things. One, we want peace. Two, we want progress. We want peace and we want progress. In all of our circumstances, we want to find peace. In all of our circumstances, we want to know that we are acting in a direction of progress. So how do we do these things? How do we find peace? How do we find progress? Let's begin with peace, because peace and progress sounds better than progress and peace. It's an alliteration thing, peace and progress. So let's begin with peace. How do I find peace with what is? I'm going to tell you a story. I think I'm going to tell you a story. I was 16, maybe 17. I was a dapper young man. No, I'm not going to do that. And I went with my mother and father to Boston. My brother didn't go. He was at NC State, so he left me behind. The true left behind when your brother leaves and goes to college. So they took me to Boston. My father had to do some kind of computer classy type thing. And my mother said, we're taking you with us, because if we leave you home, you'll burn the house down, which I probably would have. So we get on a plane. I'd never been on a plane before. I still love, I'm an anomaly. I love airports. I love planes. I love the feeling when like you're taking off and all of a sudden it goes shh, and you're like, how is this happening? You know, it's this kind of trust and faith you put in the plane. It's just cool. So we go to Boston, and during the day, my father is doing his smart, classy type things. And so my mom and I are hanging out, and my mom and I are doing things. And one of the things we do in Boston, at the Boston Harbor, is we go whale watching. Yeah? I got an O at home. Maybe you're saying the same thing. Oh, I think you know where this is going. So we go whale watching. Now, they tell you when you go whale watching, you're going to be out far. I mean, the whales don't hang out near the harbor. They hang out off in the sea. So you're going to get on this boat with all these people and these kids screaming. You're going to go off into, the ocean, to the depths. And so I took Dramamine. I think Dramamine is this pill you take so you don't get seasick. So I took some Dramamine. It didn't work. So I'm on the boat. We're going out. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And, so by the time we get out there, I am standing beside a trash can, just releasing all that I've experienced during the day. So I get violently ill. And I say violent because anytime you get ill like this, it's always violent. So I'm violently ill. Everyone else there's these kids running around. They're all violently ill. It's like this plague had hit the boat, and all of a sudden everyone's like sick. It's disgusting. I even try to make a joke. I'm sitting here beside the trash can with another guy. I'm like, conveniently placed, isn't it? And he didn't laugh. So I go down below with my mother, and I put my head in her lap, a 16, 17-year-old boy putting his head in his mama's lap. And my mama watches whales. She saw whales. I didn't see any whales. She saw whales. And we come back, and later on, she told me why she didn't get ill. She told me why she was able to witness these whales. She said, I did exactly what they told me to do. I kept my eye on the horizon. You see, the problem is when you get out to sea, your equilibrium's thrown off because you're no longer standing on this firm ground. You're in these waves going up and down, and there's nothing for you to focus on because when you look at a wave, it turns. When you look at this wave, it turns. It's kind of like being in circumstances that are overwhelming. So what they say is look at the horizon. That place in the distance above the waves where all this movement hits this place of stillness, this place of, I know you see where I'm getting, right? This place of stillness, this place of eternity where all this change meets that. Keep your focus on that, and you might see some whales. So that got me thinking. I was thinking about this story this week, and that got me thinking about this image of the horizon. And what that means. You see, our circumstances are like the waves. Sometimes they're calm and balanced. Sometimes they're high and overwhelming and still balanced. When waves go up, waves go down. And sometimes they're overwhelming. And what we do, we make the mistake of focusing on the waves. We make the mistake of, okay, I got a lot to do. My life is going crazy. Why don't I just stare at one of these things I have to do? Why don't I just look at this? I got to write a report. Why don't I just stare at the report until something happens? Why don't I just do this until something happens? I don't know musicians. Why don't I just stare at the paper until the song writes itself? That's what we do. We look at the waves instead of focusing above our situation, above our circumstances, at that place where our circumstances meet the eternal. See, the cool thing about the horizon, it's actually pretty arbitrary. The horizon's always changing. It's just that place where the temporal and eternal meet. It's a point. You can't really define it, but it's a point where our life, the changing circumstances of our life, meets that stillness, meets that peace, meets that presence. And I can't tell you what the horizon is for you. I can't tell you what that thing is, that thing that keys you into that. Occasionally, Not occasionally, every morning. Every morning I read, and I've been reading Howard Thurman's Meditations. Before that I was reading the Dhammapada. Now I sound so smart and spiritual. Before that I was reading something by the Buddha. It's no big deal, and that's just who I am. But I don't read that because I want to be the spiritual dude and because I want Dusty to keep bringing me back. I read it because I have to read it. It's like eating. I have to consume this material because for me, it's the horizon. It's the place where my little insignificant, significant life meets the eternal. In those pages, I do Tai Chi in the morning, and that's where all of a sudden in the movement, I find that place where the movement meets the non-movement, meets the stillness, meets the pre-movement. And we all have those things. We all have those things we find in our life that if we do them on a daily basis, if they become a practice, the horizon gets very, very obvious. So what I'm suggesting, if you want to find peace in your life, is no matter what circumstances you're in, no matter how high the waves are, ask yourself this: where is God in this? Where can I find God in this? Where's the horizon? Where's that place that I can look beyond these circumstances, lock in, and then find that stillness, that peace that Dusty said, and I believed her, is always here. That's the crazy thing. There's always a horizon. There's always a place where God is because God is in all places. So no matter what your situation is, and I'm telling you, you know who I'm talking to. You know who I'm talking to. I love it because every one of you are like, you know exactly what I mean. When you're in those circumstances that seem overwhelming, ask yourself, where's God in this? Where does God meet me in this? Where's that place that I can find stillness? How can I look beyond these circumstances to that place? And it could be a book. It could be a song. It could be deep breathing. The beautiful thing about breathing is you take it with you wherever you go. But you do that thing every day. You do that thing in the chaos. You do that thing when you're feeling overwhelmed. You lock in, focus on the horizon. And the more you do it, the more the horizon becomes obvious. And then it becomes an unconscious thing. Because I'm not expecting you to, in every decision you make, you're getting at the stoplight. Should I go? Should I stop? Should I go? Should I stop? Well, hold on. Maybe I should read some Howard Thurman before I go. And then you're getting honked at. But the more you do it, the more it becomes a subconscious, the more it becomes an unconscious thing. And you're constantly checking in. You're constantly checking in. And your life becomes a prayer, and it is beautiful. Peace. Peace is what we want. But I just always want to slap myself when I say that. But we also want progress. We want to move forward. Forward. Life is not only change, life is evolution. As God puts and pours, I don't like puts, rewind. As God, edit that out, Mark. As God pours itself into life, life expands and complexifies and shifts, and we are a part of that evolution. And because we're self-reflective beings, we get to participate in it. So we have this inner drive to progress, to move forward, to participate in the positive change of our life and of all life. So not only do we want peace, we want progress. So as I'm looking at these situations, as I'm looking at these waves, as I'm aware of what is, remember the first thing we did, aware of what is, aware of my circumstances, I want to know what is the next action I take. What's the next step? What's the next thought? What's the next word? What's the next action? The next, there's no other better word, action to contribute to the progress of this. What do I do with all these circumstances? Well, guess what? No one. You do the same thing. The horizon is not just the place of peace and stillness. It's the Alpha and it's the Omega. It's the beginning and it's the end. It's that place that you came from, that place that is pulling you toward it. Which way do you go? You go toward the horizon. You go toward that because guess what? If that's the place you find peace, that's the place you'll find fulfillment. And all fulfillment is the fulfillment. All fulfillment is fulfillment. All fulfillment is the actualization of your circumstances. The best step forward considering what I have to work with. So when I'm stuck in circumstances, when I am stuck in waves and I want to know what on earth do I do with all this? I lock into the horizon and I say, I want to go that way. I don't know what that way is. I don't know what that way is going to become, but I know that is peace. I know that is God. I know that is pulling me in, and I know that's where I'm going to find fulfillment, and that's where I'm going to contribute, damn it, to the fulfillment of others. So peace and progress are inextricable. I need to do better with words. Inextricably? Peace and progress are inextricably linked. It's the same thing. You find peace where you find progress. So when you're locked into your circumstances, all you have to do is move in the direction of that peace. Move in the direction of the horizon. And it's a practice. It's a practice. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to feel slightly ill. Physically ill, mentally ill, emotionally ill. You're going to feel slightly off balance, even though a balance is something that always exists. And in that moment, you're going to ask yourself, what do I do? What's the next step? Where do we go from here? This is overwhelming. This pandemic, this politic, this work life, this bodily existence, this thing I'm living in. Where do I go? Well, lock into that place where you find God and say, that is what my life's going to serve. There's a man. There's a man named Paul Tillich, a German theologian. He wrote my favorite spiritual book, I think, of all time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's close. It's called The Dynamics of Faith. And he talked about faith as ultimate concern. What is that thing in your life that concerns you ultimately? What is the direction? Where is your compass pointed? And if that ultimate is the ultimate, that thing that I call God, that thing that goes by many names and no name, you don't have to give it a name. But if that's the ultimate, then I will experience ultimate fulfillment. And I don't always lock into that well. Sometimes I falter. Sometimes I don't know what's going on. But if I practice, if I bring these books with me, if I read in the morning, if I do Tai Chi, if I take a little extra time with my family, if I stop when someone says, when you say, how are you doing? The other day I was with someone, you might be watching, and we were walking down the street together to the parking deck, and we walked by someone, and she said, how are you doing? And he said, not good. And guess what she did? She stopped. Who does that? Who stops? God says stop. God says stop. That's the horizon. Say, well, you know what? I just asked him how he was doing. He said not good, so I'm going to check in. And we sat there and talked to him for 30 minutes. So that's what I'm talking about, this thing which guides us, this horizon which pulls us. And the more you get into it, the more your life becomes an expression of it. And no matter how the waves get, no matter how awful or good or pleasurable or painful your circumstances are, you stay focused on that. You look above, slightly above the circumstances, and your life changes. So let's do that now. What do we do with this? So I'm here. I have a podium. I have a microphone. I have you behind a camera. I have you in this room. I have a mask. Feels pretty good to wear a new mask. But as soon as I walk away, I'll have to put this back on. I have food to eat. That feels good. I have a car to drive home, a very old car, and it makes this weird noise in the front. Yeah, Dad, I'll look at it. But I have that. It's warm. And where do I go from here? Those are my circumstances. So where's stillness in this? Well, there's stillness in holding this podium. I've never held a podium before. So that's kind of cool. It gives me something to bang on. This mic feels like it's just looking at me. And that's interesting. I've never sat so close to a mic before, so that's kind of cool. Having you here, this whole space is different now. It feels electric and peaceful. And so how do I work with that? You're at home. I don't know if you're listening. I don't know how you're reacting to this. I care. I do. But you're there and I'm here. So what do I do with that? You see, these are my circumstances. But there's God in this podium. And it holds me up. And there's God in this microphone because it allows you to hear me. There's God in this space because all of you are God to me. And the space is electric because of your intentions to make it electric. Karen's, your voice is still in my head. Mark, your life is still in my head. It's just our conversation earlier. You see, what I do is I take all this and I say, where's God in this? And then when I ask where God is in all of this, the answer is yes. God is in all of this. The podium and the microphone and you at home, and this pandemic and the sickness and the death of those who have passed, and the life of the family who's left behind, and the way we connect on Zoom and Facebook Live, and the innovation of new vaccines, and the kindness and compassion of the nurse who gave me the vaccine. So you see, when I say, where is God in this, I always get the same answer. Yes, yes, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And sometimes it's me saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. So see, even when I do this in this moment, it's transformative. Even when I say, how do I work with this, it's transformative. And I just keep coming back to this again and again and again. And I think I would like to close. I don't know how long I've been talking, but it feels good. I think I'd like to close with two things. One, intention. You see, we have so little control over life beyond us. But the one thing we do have control over, in a kind of a limited way, but still, we can say that, is intention. Intention is the direction of your energy, the direction you choose to go, the gathering up of the energies of your body, your mind, your emotions, the gathering of all that in a direction. Make that direction the horizon, whatever your horizon is, make that direction the peace and the progress of your life, and watch as everything around you changes. Watch as that horizon goes from a single point to all points. So one is intention. Two, I'd like to close with a prayer. And in this prayer, I'm going to pray for the horizon for all of us. I'm going to pray that in these circumstances, in these changing waves, that we accept what is, but we focus on the God in what is. Because there's something beautiful about that. There's something beautiful about where this life meets that life. Because that's what this is all about. So to close, I'd like for you all to join me in prayer. And then we'll see what happens. Presence, peace, being that expresses itself as me, as you, as what is. Being that becomes circumstance. Being that changes in circumstance. The waves that move that can make you sick, but you can also surf upon, that can overwhelm you, but also gives you something to drink. The water that seems like it's beyond you, but it also is you. So being that becomes all of this, I say thank you. I say thank you for what is. Thank you for the highest wave. Thank you for the lowest wave. Thank you for the negative. Thank you for the positive. Thank you for the pleasure and the pain of being, because it's what reminds me that I'm alive, that I'm an expression of you, and that I have a purpose to fulfill and a purpose that is being fulfilled. I'm thankful for everyone gathered here today, not only gathered in this little space, but gathered in that space beyond the camera. Because you're not here, you're there, and so I'm thankful for that. And because we can connect in this way, I'm grateful for cameras and the internet and technology, innovation. I don't always like what is, but what is what I have to work with. So what is going to be my currency, and I'm asking myself, and I'm asking every one of you here and every one of you at home, what are you going to do next? What's your next step? What's your next word? What's your next thought? Is it going to bring you peace? Is it going to move you toward peace? Is it going to bring those around you peace? Is it going to bring this world peace? The answer is yes, then you are moving in the only direction there is. The direction that will contribute to the unfolding evolution of your life and all life. The one question we always have to ask, is there God in this? And the only answer that will ever come, yes. So for all these things, I just say thank you, hallelujah, amen, and so it is. Thank you. Nothing like a fresh mask.
Thank you so very much, Andy. Brilliant as always. As always, thank you. It is now time for our sacred giving. And up on the screen are the 3 ways that you can support this community. Go to our website at trianglecsl.org, and up in the right-hand corner there's a Give button. If you push on that, click on that, I guess is the terminology, then you will go to the place where you can give. There's also a text to give number, that's 919-230-8445. And lastly, you could send us a check at 4000 Bearcat Way, Suite 104, Morrisville, North Carolina, 27560. We're very, very, very grateful for these gifts. They allow us to continue to do what we do in the world, continue to be a beacon of light and warmth and love, and we're just grateful for them, for the giving of your time, talent, and treasure as always. On the next slide is an affirmation. Please repeat after me. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you all so, so very much. Please now welcome back to her guitar and to the stage the awesome Karen Daly.
Thank you, Dusty. Thank you, Andy. My gosh, it was so good to hear you. It's been too long, too long. Interestingly, I had no idea that you would be so focused on peace. That's been on my mind a lot lately after a chaotic 2020 and a bit of a crazy 2021 so far. And I am singing a song called Peace by OAR. Slam the door tonight. everybody.
Beautiful, Karen. Thank you so much. So much. I so agree with Andy. You are amazing. Today we have two very special flower dedications. Now, the first should come as no surprise. It's for our special angel, Heather Abbott. Now, over the years, Heather has received, right, yes, absolutely. Over the years, Heather has received a number of flower dedications from the Leadership Council, from many of you, and mostly from me, because I really don't know what I would do without her. I would probably give her a flower dedication every week if I could. She has received all of these flower dedications because she does so much for this community, and she does so with such pure love and joy. If you look up the word love in the dictionary, I'm sure that her picture would be there alongside of the definition. Today, I'm dedicating these flowers to her for all of the work that she has put in, not only front and center, but behind the scenes, preparing for and in the midst of purging, packing, moving, storing, and cleaning our campus. She's made phone calls, countless phone calls, sent emails, and made countless hard choices about what to keep, what to sell, and what to give away. She posted things online and met daily with potential buyers, stayed in touch with our landlord, made numerous trips to the recycle center, the cardboard receptacle, and the garbage dump, all the while managing her own feelings and emotions with grace. Heather Abbott, you are truly a marvel. My heartfelt gratitude and appreciation goes out to you for all that you are and all that you do for this community. We are so blessed by your commitment to our center, to every individual life, to our collective lives. Thank you, Heather, from the bottom of my heart. I love you madly. You want to come up for it and get these from? Babs created these beautiful flower arrangements. And here she is. Now, while Heather is everywhere we look, in every corner of our center, in every moment of every day, our next flower dedication recipient is just as dedicated, just as generous with her time and talent. While we do not see her everywhere we look, we see evidence of her service to this community every day. Each and every newsletter, each and every special announcement, each and every addition to our website is her doing. Roberta Gilgore has been an integral part of this community for more than 10 years, and I so appreciate all that she does. She has mad skills, and generously puts them to work for all of us. She somehow has this ability to find the right and perfect image for every theme, every talk title, and every special event. Her creativity and her imagination are unlimited. As our community has been transitioning into becoming a bigger online presence, she has stepped up to that challenge and has come up with new and innovative ways to meet that challenge. The daily words of encouragement were her brainchild, and together with the quotes of Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, she creates these works of art and sends them out every day. Not a week goes by when she doesn't have some new idea for me to consider. My heartfelt gratitude and appreciation goes out to Roberta Gilgore for all that she is and all that she does for all of us, individually and collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. We are so blessed by her commitment to our community. Thank you, Roberta, for everything you do. I love you madly. So these are here for you, Roberta. Take them in now. If you wanted to drive in, we would meet you and give them to you if you would like. Let me know. I now welcome back to the podium our practitioner du jour, Barbara Kane.
I forgot I was supposed to come back up. Oh, gosh. Wow. So, if anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the homepage, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click that button, fill in the request form, and we will get the prayer and send it out to all the ministers and the practitioners. And please join us after the service for Let's Stay Connected. If you're on Zoom, just stay there. If you're on Facebook Live, just jump over to Zoom. And in the comfort of your own home, please stand for our January affirmation. This is a call and response. I'll read a line, then you repeat it back to me, or to the universe, actually. Ready? Okay. I remember the foundational principles upon which our faith is built.
I remember the foundational principles upon which our faith is built.
I delve deeply into the truth behind those teachings.
I dive deeply into the truth behind those teachings.
There is one infinite reality.
There is one infinite reality.
I affirm that I am spiritually grounded in the consciousness of that oneness.
I affirm that I am spiritually grounded in the consciousness of that oneness.
There is one infinite reality.
There is one infinite reality.
I affirm that, I continually court and constantly commune with the divinity within me.
I continually court and constantly commune with the divinity within me.
I practice letting go and surrendering to this one presence.
I practice letting go and surrendering to this one presence.
I allow the divine to unfold through me.
I allow the divine to unfold through me.
And all is well.
And all is well.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And I invite you to stay for our closing song, and now I will invite you all also to close your eyes one more time as I say a benediction. As we connect one more time with that infinite presence, that infinite intelligence, that in this moment I choose to call God, I know that we are all absolutely, perfectly connected, that our eyes are on the horizon, that our movement forward towards our goals, towards a greater appreciation of that infinite love, of that infinite intelligence, and of that perfect peace are underscored by today's service. I know that we move into our greater yet to be, and I'm so grateful that this is so, and so it is.